Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Premarket Info.
Market rallying a bit here again overnight. The slow, steady climb we've seen in the S&P futures, Joel, 1641.75 is where we're trading at right now. Got as high as 1645 just a few hours ago. Low as 1635. So I've had a nice little 10-point range here this morning.
Yeah, why don't you remind me it's Tuesday? Don't we? Doesn't the market go up 100 points like every Tuesday or what?
Well, remember it
Except for
broke the
one?
streak, wasn't it? It broke the streak, so it was just one Tuesday this year that we've been down. Is that what the streak is at? Or was it like
Yep, I
19
got
in
it.
a row? Was it 19 in a row Tuesdays that we were
Yeah,
up?
something ridiculous
That's
like that.
crazy.
Looking at that 1645 number, don't have a lot of relevance. Above that, though, you do have 1649, which was your high on June 19th. Trading just about mid-range today, so I'd like to see us hold out at 1640 level. And the SPOOs got right out of the gate last night. The close at 35.50, opened a tick above that and then took off. So real good support at the close, coincides with yesterday's low.
There was headlines going thanking Alcoa for their good quarter, and that's why the S&P futures are rallying. I don't know. I'd challenge that a little bit because Alcoa is only up 7 cents here. They did beat. We'll give them some props. They beat on the top and the bottom. They beat 7 cents versus 6 cents, and looks like 5.85 billion. Can't read my own writing. Versus 5.83 billion. So it looks like a little beat on the top, a little beat on the bottom. They did reaffirm their full year outlook 2013, but I'm not really that excited, Joel.
Oh, really? You can't wait for Alcoa earnings. They're finally
Woohoo!
out. Got a pop in the pre-market to 810. That was the stopper. That coincides with the high that you had on June 21st at 811. So getting another opportunity to short Alcoa in the 8 handle.
$8. Well, it's below $8 right now, trading right at 8. I do see 150,000 in the New York book at 8. So some institutions targeting the $8 number at 9:30 to dump. We'll have to see if the designated market maker on the floor presses it over that $8 hump, or if that $8 hump
Is
still
that
remains
a big order
resistance.
for Alcoa?
It's a big order for anything. It's not a supersized order, obviously, for Alcoa. You're talking about a stock that's traded 400,000 shares this morning, so they could take him out off the hop, but it's 150,000 shares, so you're talking about 35% of the pre-market volume here, so obviously it's early yet. I'd expect Alcoa to probably trade upwards maybe of 1 million shares here before the market opens here today. But anytime you see our order over 100,000 shares, it's significant. I don't care what the stock is. Only other earnings stock we do have of significance is Triple W, which is Wolverine Worldwide. They reported earnings here this morning. Stock beat on the top, 46 cents versus 34. Slight little miss, or they beat on the bottom. Slight little miss on the top, 588 versus 591 million in revenue. But the stock is rallying up to a new 52-week high this morning. 58.83 is where it just ticked up to. Closed to 55.27. So Triple W looking strong this morning.
I believe that's a Michigan company, isn't it?
You got me on that one. I'm not
I
sure, but
think.
the Wolverine, maybe the
Yeah. I think
Wolverines.
the maker, those hush puppies are really coming back. But you did get a tick up here to 59. That's been the pre-market high. Not a lot of volume here. Less than a couple thousand shares have traded. So put whatever's faith you want into that. I believe this is multi-years. Could be an all-time high for this stock. But 59 is your only relevant point. Not a real heavily traded issue. Trades less than 500,000 shares a day. So this one should be a wild child, but 59 and above that, you got a nice round number like 60.
Apple did sell off yesterday. Couldn't consolidate on the 420. It tried for a day or two, and then the 420 just failed yesterday miserably. There was a note from Wedge Partners saying that they were reducing their iPhone production forecast yesterday, so that might have put the stock under a bit of pressure. Could also have been a technical thing, just a little bit too. We opened right up just over 420 and straight
20, yep.
down. That first hour lost 10 points in the first hour, so a little bit of volatility back in Apple. Obviously, it has bounced. But if you look at, this little move from yesterday, we lost 10 points, we've rallied 5. That's the little 50% fib from yesterday.
Right, the close closed right in area as well. Monday's low 410.65. I was hoping it to get under 410. 409.47 was your 4-day low. So real good support at the 410 level. And then you've had multiple highs. 421 was just ahead of the double top from Wednesday and Friday. So a little bit of consolidation here in Apple, but really no news to get this thing heading north. What they got to watch, they're a little bit later in the earnings season, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
They're
later
not
on
yet.
here. Obviously, this week's kind of quiet here. We do have, I think, Yum tomorrow is the only thing that's real big on schedule. I think it's tomorrow evening, YUM. Maybe some financials later on in the week. I haven't checked the earnings calendar, just going off memory, but usually a couple of those financials report fairly early, so that might be getting towards the end of the week. But yeah, Apple here, I don't know if I like it anymore. I was saying if it consolidates around 420, we get a breakout over that whole 420 area, we could try to make a run, but we didn't. We failed. If we seem to have failed at that 420, I think they're going to line up, up there at that 420 area now if we were to get back there, but I don't think you're going to get a shot. I think there could be some follow-through weakness here today. So I'd be careful here on the Apple from the long side.
416 has been the high in the pre-market so far. I think 415 with the close and being the mid-range from yesterday. I think that's gonna be a good swing number.
I think so too.
Yeah, if you want to try it off the open, I don't know if I'd risk it down to 410, but 415 the point stop, you might get a little kick out of it. Money Boo Boo says July 23rd for the Apple earnings.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Money Boo Boo.
And the Goog monster has taken out the 900 level. It took it out yesterday, closed at 905.09, is tacking on almost another 4 points here this morning. Just ticked 909, 908.88 now is where it's trading at in the pre-market. So we're getting close to that high that we set, the 610.84 back on the June the 19th. We take that off. Can we make a run on Google here again?
610, you're right. What was that high? Back?
610.79, I think.
Yeah, I got
610.84. Or
yeah.
910.84. We're 300 points
Uh-oh.
out here. No. 910.84. I was looking upside down at that 6 number, that 9 number.
Oh, it sure looks poised to make a run at that. In the pre-market, you've just kind of floated up here to the 909 level. 910.84 definitely would be a good target on that stock. Above that, things open up, but a lot of times with a stock like Google will blow through that number and be like 912, and you'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't sell it at 910.84, and then you get up, you get a drink of water, and it's back at like 907. So it's a good resistance point.
Looking at a couple other stocks that were breaking out, some of your defensive names actually were turning around and it's been a while for them and having pretty strong days. Walmart had been quietly consolidating this whole 74 area forever. Yesterday decided they wanted to buy it, just took off right out the gate and opened at the low at 75.68 and straight up $1, which is a huge move for Walmart. Closed at 76.71, so a nice breakout day for Walmart. You know how I love my 2-day moves, so I'm obviously looking at Walmart to possibly have a strong day again here today.
It's bumping up against resistance, Dennis. It did close 6 cents off the high of the day at 76.77. You go back out just a little bit farther, you had a high at 76.87 back in June, and then another high just above the $77 level. So you're running into a few sellers here. I think you break above 77 there. You're safe. Not a lot of resistance in the 77. Handle up to that 78 high. 78.04 was the high on 528, but could run in a little trouble here off the open.
J&J broke out yesterday too. It had been struggling to get through this whole $88 level, took it out and just took off yesterday, closed at 88.59. Now it looks like it's set to challenge the $89 level.
Yeah, every time I think I'm gonna buy. I buy Procter and Gamble calls. I'm going to buy J&J calls instead.
They
because
move.
The Procter and Gamble goes nowhere.
Yeah.
The J&J ripped yesterday. That's an all-time high close on that. So I'll keep an eye on that good swing number 88.59. Probably some sellers ahead of the 90. Coming up on that $90 level. First, you got to get through 89. I don't know if there's anything in the book there. Can you see on that or not?
Little bit, 30,000 shares. It's not that
Ah,
much for it. Can peel through. It can pick that off. It obviously got up there yesterday though, and they made the high of 88.99, which is a penny off that 89 level. So technically, even from a levels perspective, it is still resistance. But I think it could take that out today. You might want to just adjust your headset a little bit there, Joel. You're fading out a little bit. So
okay. How's
um,
that? Is that better?
yeah, that sounds a lot better there. So
Okay.
Exxon Mobil here too, Joel. That took off over 92 bucks. Just seems like 92 has been the number on Exxon Mobil. Did take it out yesterday, so we closed above it at 92.25. I'm looking at this one. $93 is 50,000 shares up there. The New York Buck. That's obviously significant resistance for Exxon Mobil. It's a question of can it run 75 cents to get up there and test that level.
First, I mean, there was kind of multiple highs above 92.50. You had a high at 92.68 on May 30th. Only got up to 92.53 yesterday. So I think it's going to be some slow going in the upper 92s up ahead of 93. But you're right. Major resistance at 93.18 was the high we had on May 28th.
Triple M is up there approaching its I think that's an all-time high, approaching an all-time high for 3M as well. You go back, you had a double top on the 17th and 18th of June at 113.23 and
Ooh,
113.25.
that's a huge number.
That's a
Yep.
huge number, and we are obviously only a buck away on a $100 stock. They're opening up here with 3M. You wonder if this is going to start to open up into that resistance area.
Yeah, pretty close. 112.78. Really, the only thing you have to look at is that double top, 113.23, 113 and a quarter. Not much going on in the pre-market. You did have a gap and go yesterday, so be careful. Got a gap between 111.90, 111.56. So 111.50 level should be good support if it goes into retreat.
Speaking of all-time highs, potentially, well, Tesla is making a new all-time high here again today, up $4. They are going to replace Oracle in the Nasdaq 100. Oracle's going over the New York Stock Exchange, so they needed a stock to come in, and Tesla is the chosen child. And Tesla here making new all-time highs on that news.
Oh yeah, that Barron's article panning it, and I believe Bank America came out with a $39 price target on it
Did
yesterday.
they?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed that part. 30
Maybe they're anticipating like a
four for
huge
one split or
here.
something.
Yeah, a 4-for-1 split.
Three
They
for
might
one.
be right, but just the only thing to keep an eye on here in the pre-market. You only have one number. You got up to 126.48 in the pre-market. It's been the pre-market high. Little less than a buck away from there, so I'd keep an eye on that level.
Hard to fade this, on news like that when it's going in an index, though, because the index arbors have to buy it, and everybody else knows that too. So sometimes they will press the stock even higher. You're bringing up a chart of ISRG. This is your big loser of the day, Intuitive Surgical. They announced preliminary Q2 results that are going to miss. They're seeing 386 to 398. Estimates were up at 324. They're also seeing a miss on the top line. Sales estimates are up at 629 million. They're seeing only 537 to 575 million. So they're anticipating a miss on the top, a miss on the bottom. While the street is ganging up on them too, multiple downgrades today. Raymond James, JMP Securities, Canaccord, and Goldman Sachs all downgrading the stock today, and it is knocking 65 points off of the price of
Yeah.
ISRG.
Yeah, well, it was 75 not too long ago. In the pre-market, you got down to 422.40 back in December of 2011. You got the 420.80 here. Some traders here are looking at see if this thing can rally. I mean, this is an hour before the open here. All I could say is I look at there's some resistance in here. I can't tell you. I mean, support's obvious at the at that low that you had 422.40. But last night after this news came out, it kind of hung around 440 for a bit. So if I was trying to play this thing for a quick pop here in the pre-market, I'd look at that 440 area as resistance. If you wait till the regular session opens, I don't know if there's going to be stops in there, but you could get nice flush. I'd be using that 422.40 to 420 area on the downside as a target. Sometimes you get these ridiculous moves in the pre-market, and you never see those levels during the day.
It's so hard to trade $400 stocks too, especially this whole high frequency trading, queue jumping world that we're in. It's like you gotta almost give up probably 50 cents to a buck on something like that in the form of the spread before you get into the trade. I mean, it is a $400 stock, so maybe it's not that big a deal to pay a point spread. But I hate trading $400 stocks in a world where you just can't get filled on the bid and the offer. STI
Well,
getting
you could get filled.
well, you get filled, yeah, when it's blowing through you. So you'll bid 435, you look up, it's 433 offer. So I don't know. I stay away from the $400 stocks. Apple's an exception. The world's a little more liquidity in a stock like Apple, but in Google too, a little more liquidity in that. But stuff like this, it will be widespread. You can be sure of that, and it will be flying around. Actually, we should go to IBM, and IBM's getting a huge downgrade today when we go to the upgrades and downgrades.
It
IBM getting
downgraded it.
downgraded at Goldman Sachs here this morning,
Ooh,
and they are knocking the hell out of this stock. 192.18. They're knocking it down $2.70 on this downgrade here right now. This is absolutely bashing. Actually, 280. This is a bashing here for IBM. Actually, IBM was starting to get up and above that 195 level where it struggled a little bit. Not today though. It looks like it's going to retest support possibly with the double bottom down the 190s.
I wonder if they talked to Warren about this at all. I mean, I'm
Did
sure
Warren
he's
pass
not.
this downgrade? I
What
don't know.
what
Goldman's got guts, man. Goldman will always go against the street when everybody else is thinking. Sometimes they'll come out with this, everybody's upgrading. Goldman will come downgrade the stock. So Goldman, they aren't afraid to downgrade anything or to upgrade. They make their calls here, and Goldman Sachs is coming out with a bold call here. Concerns about margins, concerns about some of their pressure on their margins more than anything, and they're knocking her down.
Taking a look, someone's sticking their nose out here at 192 even, 192.03. We bumped up against that a couple times here, so that's a good pre-market level to keep an eye on. Going out to the daily chart, this stock has just been floundering here. This hasn't recovered at all with the market. If that 192 level doesn't hold, 190.26 and 190.51. That's double bottom going back 3 and 4 trading sessions, and then the low of the move has been 188.41. But being all the way down $3 here, you gotta perhaps look for a little pop on IBM.
I think you could test it. I think you could see some follow through. I know those Goldman Sachs. Nobody's more influential than Goldman Sachs. And then off the bat at 9:30, people are like, "Oh, Goldman doesn't like it. I don't like it either." And sometimes you see some follow through weakness on some of these things. So I do like that level though. If it does get into those mid 190s, like you said, I think it could pop from there. I'm just not sure if I'd want to stick my nose out a buck and a half above that big support level. Couple other big downgrades here. Seems like everything's getting downgraded today. Wells Fargo getting downgraded at Susquehanna. Susquehanna not a huge influential brokerage house here, but interesting enough that they're downgrading the stock when it broke out to a new 52-week high yesterday. Got as high as 42.97. Pulled back to close at 42.83. It actually is trading up still a little bit here this morning. I'll tell you, $43 is absolutely enormous on this stock.
Yeah, did someone downgrade this last week too? And I remember taking a look, and I remember looking at the
Yep.
$41 level after that downgrade, and that certainly held up well. Taking a look at Wells Fargo, not much going on in the pre-market. Another stock that had a gap and go yesterday. Got up to 42.97, probably some size kicking around at 43
Yes,
as
there
well.
is.
Yeah, and you're getting a little bit of a running start here, so it's not like when it gets up to that level, it's not going to be up like 60, 70 cents on the day. It's getting a start into it, running start into it. Boy, that's the highest the stock has been in a long time. So 43 is the number to look out for in Wells Fargo.
Yeah, if you go back to September 30th of 2008, we did tick up to 44.69. So we're ways away from there. I had to go way back to find that level there for you. But in September 2008, we were up in the 44 handle. So this is not an all-time high, but it is approaching those highs that we set back in the financial crisis, or before the financial crisis started. So it's been a long road to recovery for Wells Fargo when you look at those monthlies, because obviously in the financial crisis, stock went from $44 down to $7. It's almost got all that back now, so road to recovery for Wells Fargo is almost filled, unlike some of its counterparts like Citi and Bank of America, who can only dream of those highs that they set before the financial crisis. DuPont getting downgraded at Macquarie here. Stock trading flat right now. 53.76 is offered there. 53.76. The best bid's down at 53 and a quarter, so it looks like it could open down. There was some major resistance up here in this whole 54 area. We got up there, tested it just under it yesterday at 53.86. Looks like it could open down here though, and there's a little bit of air in here in DuPont.
Right, yeah, it had the gap and go yesterday. You did mention yesterday's high, 53.87, had another high at 54.10. So real good resistance here for DuPont up in the 54 area. The stock is recovered from the breakdown, but not as much I think as the overall market. But be keeping an eye on yesterday's high, 53.87, up to that 54.10 level.
A couple other downgrades just quickly here. STI getting downgraded at BMO Capital. There's another one that was breaking out to new highs, and the brokerage house is stepping out and downgrading it. So interesting call there too. And then there's the downgrade we get every day. Barrick Gold getting downgraded. Stifel Nicholas. It seems like every single day somebody downgrades Barrick Gold. Barrick just shrugs those off now. It's trading with gold prices, and it's actually up 50 cents here because gold is up here this morning. So Barrick, obviously everybody hates Barrick, and another one hates it this morning, but it is bouncing with gold prices here.
It's starting to look a little bit interesting here. You're getting a couple highs right here so far at 1421 and 1430, opening up into that area. So you're opening up into some resistance here. Above that, you start to clear. Got some room up to the $15 level. Gold here. Just was looking at the futures before we started the broadcast, and it's you got a number here, right? 1260 seems right. Yeah, we're in the 12 handle in that. 1260 has really been keeping the lid on gold, so I'm not looking for a big rally in that until we can close the 1260 area. Perhaps we're in another one of these dreaded periods of consolidation here. Before the bottom falls out again.
Yeah, I know. That's what I wonder too. If it consolidates here for basically back a couple months ago, we had a month of consolidation before we lost another $200. I wonder if we're going to see something the same, where we just sit here, trade in the mid 1200s for the better part of July, and then all of a sudden, boom, we get slapped again. It's always hard to predict, obviously, because now it's opening up and it's been volatile, but I still think the path of least resistance on gold could be further down. I think the problem is, just as you try to get to go up, there's more people to sell it, because so many people are down and so many people are killed on it. So every time it tries to rally, and that's the same thing with these miners, every time they try to rally, they find new sellers because everybody's underwater and everybody's like, oh, they just rallied a buck, get me the hell out of it. And obviously the stocks, just have trouble rallying for that reason. And then if they start to sell off, there's not that many people that are willing to stick their neck out to buy the stocks. What did you used to always tell me, Joel? You used to always say there's always somebody willing to sell stock going up, but there's not always somebody willing to buy a stock going down. That's why shorting stocks can sometimes be a lot easier, especially if you're not in a bull market anymore.
Just take a quick look at Newmont. It is getting a nice pop here. Tried to hit that low of the move yesterday, which was 26.97. Got down to 27 even. Closed right there. Getting a pop here in the pre-market. That 28.12, 28.26 level is looming pretty big as resistance, and then you got a gap up in there. So another tradable, identifiable bottom in Newmont, $27.
Yeah, it just takes out that 26.97 low though. Look out below. We are running dreadfully short on time here, Joel. Just the S&P futures quickly ticking up to 1642 and a quarter. So looks like we're in for another good day, for at least a good morning for the bulls. We'll have to see if we can hold up. That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back at you tomorrow morning.